My mother told me about a woman called Laura who lived in Luzira, a town on the shores of Lake Victoria. Her beauty made her known throughout the entire town. Her father was a carpenter and her mother was a housewife. Due to limited means, she dropped out of school in the early years of her studies. Laura was hurt whenever she saw her friends studying. As she grew up, she always dreamed of living a luxurious life and possessing treasures beyond her imagination. The admiration of her beauty by all the men in town seemed not enough since she wanted power, wealth, and influence. Whenever she walked through the town, her beauty drew attention from most of the men, who often offered gifts, lifts, and flowers with the hope of winning her heart. But Laura remained unmoved by those gestures as she saw no future in most of those men, who were farmers, blacksmiths, and merchants because she always wanted more and much more. One evening, when the sun dipped below the horizon and Luzira town was bathed in the soft glow of the sunset, Laura was at the window of their modest home, watching the shadows lengthen and the stars twinkle in the night sky. Stories of magic entranced her mind. Laura decided to move out of their home towards the shores of Lake Victoria to feel the breath of the waters. Then she encountered the Lake Victoria spirit known as Mukasa, a spirit that possessed the power to grant unimaginable wealth to any who dared to seek it out. Laura was so determined and made an agreement with Mukasa, with a steep and terrible price for her to get the power, wealth, and influence she longed for without realizing the dangers it would cause to the community and herself. Mukasa asked Laura for souls, and the more souls, the wealthier, more powerful, and more influential she would become. "How will I get these souls?" asked Laura. "Each man that you will sleep with will be a soul collected," whispered Mukasa. Laura returned home and kept the secret from her parents since she had always tried to surprise them with the idea that one day she would be powerful, wealthy, and influential. The next morning, as she was moving around town, men who always approached her with gifts continued offering her gifts. Unlike before, this time she was easily moved, accepted their proposals, and started to sleep with them one by one. First, it was a blacksmith who, after a week, got a terrible disease and died instantly. Laura didn't care much because she did not realize that Mukasa asking for souls meant death. Since the blacksmith died of disease, she did not give it much attention. Then she slept with a farmer who later died in an accident 2 days later. This is when she got curious. The more men she slept with, the more influential, powerful, and wealthy she became, along with many mysterious deaths of those she slept with. Eventually, the community became concerned at the rate at which men in their town were dying mysteriously. This information started spreading throughout the town about the men's deaths and Laura's wealth. One evening, community leaders called a town meeting to discuss the issue of the rampant deaths of men. In the meeting, the people pointed fingers at Laura because they sensed that whenever a man approached her, he would die mysteriously after a few days. By then, she was very influential, powerful, and wealthy, and had contributed to the development of the town. The leaders tried to disagree with the locals who pointed fingers at her. With her influence, she said, "If you think I am the cause of the men's deaths in this town, then avoid me and don't come close to me." From that moment onwards, people in Luzira started to avoid her, especially men, even though she was very attractive. But little did she know that the agreement she had with Mukasa, the spirit of the lake, was forever. It started haunting her for more souls, but this time men were all avoiding her until she was killed by Mukasa. The moral of this story is that there is always nothing for free, there is always a price to pay.